Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr. .eth. You, I hope, are you. And together, all of us, we're minting coins. We're minting coins in Web3. We're minting coins in crypto. We're minting coins on the blockchain, off the blockchain, in conjunction with the blockchain, blockchain agnostic, and cross-blockchain compatible. But I can't lie, I think we're kind of biased with Ethereum. It's a high-level amount of security. And we're going to be talking about all sorts of different things today, not just Ethereum security, but we're going to be talking about Bitcoin because, you know, there's some news coming up. Bitcoin could be a gambling token, and it's serious. I think we should talk about it. Some people are gambling by not having any Bitcoin. I think it's pretty scary. We're also going to go back to Ethereum, talk about the Shanghai update. We're going to talk about all the Ethereum that is staked, doing proof of stake. We're going to talk about the validators. We're going to talk about how most of those people are underwater, but we're going to talk about how most of those people are, you know, experiencing a proven concept. Only 1% is going to come out. There might be actually a lot more that goes in. What is that going to mean for the price? What is that going to mean for the future? Is it bullish? We've got some people to help us figure that out. Stephen Miller, Novax, thanks for joining.
Always happy to be here.
Thanks, Stephen. So, who are you?
Yes, I'd rather be.
And what do you do?
Well, I was gonna say we got him to come onto camera for a second, so I was gonna like yield the floor to Novax for a second here. Novax, you want to pop back on camera and tell people who you are?
Well, I just was shouting out Gary for the welcome. Thank you. It's no place I'd rather be, man. I'm Novax, IN0VX.ETH, man. Yeah. What's up, Steve, man? Let's hear you, man. Let's hear welcome from Steve the Shark.
Yeah, no, I'm Steve Miller.eth. You also may know me as Steve Miller.eth. You also may know me as the Shark.eth. I run a show on Tuesdays called the Shark Tank, and I'm gonna keep running it every Tuesday until the end of May, at which point we're going on summer break. So I'm thrilled to be back. I love talking on minting coins with you guys, and I'm going to love even more working my way through this fantastic drink with you as we dive into Warren Buffett's bullshit.
Very good. Excellent show, Stephen Miller and the Shark Tank. I remember talking about that way back when, before a Shark Tank show was even a Shark Tank show, and it's amazing to see how some people can take an idea and execute. Execution is key, or king of it. And love tuning into that. Novax, thanks for showing up.
Thank you, sir.
Box.io.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Very cool. And yeah, I'm happy that you're here. If you want to learn more about us at Minting Coins, feel free to go to mintingcoins.com. Mintingcoins.com. Feel free to become a member. We do have some members-only videos, members-only content, and every little bit of help that we get from anybody in this community is definitely helping us do what we're doing over at web3domains.com, creating news and content for Web3 domains, digital identity, things happening in the blockchain space, not just Ethereum-centric, but, you know, crossing like blockchain domain names and really going beyond as well. So definitely recommend that people jump in, take a read at these articles, and yeah, just see what we got going on as we got it going on, because it's never the same river twice. Blockchain is constantly evolving. But while some things change, other things stay the same. And something I remember for a long time, like ever since like 2017, oops, that's not the article I want. Ever since 2017, is the Warren Buffetts of the world and the JP Morgans of the world and the Jamie Dimons of the world, even though JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon is the same person. But you know what I'm saying. All these super rich billionaires with their billions of dollars, their dirty, dirty fiat, and they're complaining about that dirty, dirty Bitcoin. Well, dirty or not, clean or not, a gambling coin or not, doesn't matter if Bitcoin was $100, $1,000, $10,000, $30,000, $100,000, $1 million. It's going to be $1 million token. Or you're going to be like, hey, it's a gambling token with no intrinsic value. That's what they're going to say, because that's what they said when it was 100. That's when they said it with 1,000, 10,000, and now 30,000. Doesn't stop people from wanting to play the roulette wheel. What if it's not a roulette wheel? What do you think, Steve?
I think it's not a roulette wheel. I think it's them trying to save this paper money we call the dollar. I think underneath it all, it's all kind of a smokescreen campaign at this stage of the game. People are trying to tell you that the dollar is fine, the banks are safe, and we're not in a recession. You look everywhere else, and you're wondering what country these people are living in, because it sure as shit ain't the U.S. So from where I sit, man, and I'm look, when I'm drinking out here with you guys, the filter comes off, man. I'm gonna be brutally honest. That's where I'm at today, and I'm also pretty fed up with the way they've been trying to launder the way they're putting out the news. Warren Buffett is just the latest pundit who's going that way. So we'll see, man. I'm buying Bitcoin on the news. I'm buying Ethereum on every bit of day of news. You know, it doesn't matter what day it is. So can't dissuade me.
Yeah, it's just really interesting that they're calling it a gambling contract with 100% edge for the house. And, you know, when we think about Bitcoin at its core, there's Bitcoin to blockchain. Separately from Bitcoin to blockchain, there's Bitcoin to cryptocurrency. The Bitcoin to cryptocurrency, the math says there's never going to be more than 21 million. There's probably about 19 million out right now, with a few million of them lost. So it's going to be inflating to up to 21 million for the next 140 years, which is quite some time. And so there's less than 21 million, right? There's less than 20 million. There's probably less than 18 million. You know, I mean, right now there's less than 19 million, and there's like 19 million. There's probably a couple million lost. You know what I mean? So if there's a set amount of Bitcoin and it's open and neutral and decentralized and everybody has equal access to it, and fiat money is just getting printed to oblivion. So if the security in Bitcoin is good, then you can put your money in Bitcoin, right? You have a Bitcoin, it's worth something. If the security was bad, someone would hack the network, steal the Bitcoin, and the value of Bitcoin would go to zero. But the security is good, and so people are looking for places to put their money as the bank inevitably prints to oblivion. And and it's just, for me, it's like so straightforward. There's a limited amount of Bitcoin, and you can buy Bitcoin. And over the long term, if it goes up in price because more people put trust in it, it's an asymmetrical bet, right? Which is why people say just put 1% in it, and then 1% will go to like infinity. And he's saying it's a gambling contract. And it's just, in my brain, like, there's no way to square that circle. There's no way to say, you know, I mean, I don't know. I guess like when Bitcoin first came out, you could just say, hey, Bitcoin has a value of $1 or $0, and there's a chance that there's a fatal flaw in the contract. But 15 years later, there's no flaws in the contract yet. I mean, actually, let's be honest. Bitcoin did have two major inflation bugs. And one of the bugs that Bitcoin had, they actually had to roll back the chain. And then there was another inflation bug, which was caught by a Bitcoin Cash developer, I think in 2017, 2018, and they were able to correct that and create a patch for that before anyone was able to exploit it. But the point is that, you know, they're able to keep it together because of the decentralized aspect of the community coming together, right? The same bullshit happened with Ethereum. Let's call a spade a spade. The same bullshit happened with Ethereum with a DAO hack, and they made the unfortunate, potentially, or you know, I mean, it probably, it's hard to say what a net positive or negative is going to be, but you know, they did fork Ethereum Classic into Ethereum. So, but it's not a gambling contract. It's a technology, and the math seems very, very straightforward. What do you think, Novex?
Oh, well, I've been at this for a little while, I guess. Thinking about it anyway. So there's some problems like with economic distribution of a currency over time in a similar way that we would look at the registrar, you know, the ENS registrar, and any registrar and any TLD for that matter. You might look at it and say, what was the mechanism by which these things were initially made available to people? And was anyone there able to kind of like rapidly, secure up all the treasure and so forth? And so ENS was very thoughtful in terms of their initial auction and stuff like that. So it's a good example of a registrar that sort of thoughtfully, you know, it wasn't easy to exploit and sit on everything. And with Bitcoin and with other sensible digital currencies that have, I mean, you really can't compare Bitcoin to anything else, first off. But nonetheless, because Bitcoin is the infrastructure, you know, like the primitive of store of value on chain, that sort of is so robust, and the proof of work, I think, you know, being the icing on that cake, the impenetrable aspect of it. I just don't think that you're going to see anything ever supplant and replace Bitcoin as the most valuable, you know, alternative to currencies. So I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, although as a consumer, I don't have a ton of Bitcoin. I know a lot of people don't have a ton of Bitcoin, and a lot of people who see the value and their value proposition and want more Bitcoin don't have an opportunity to earn Bitcoin. And so my philosophy is that I think it's best now for people who are freedom-minded to find ways to earn Bitcoin, right? To make money in Bitcoin, to earn their living in Bitcoin, and so on. I think that's kind of a real transition that we'll start to see happen now.
What do you think about that, Steve?
I think I'm caught up on something that I read in the article above. Like you scrolled past it pretty quickly, but Michael Saylor came out and said, like, pretty much in response to all the bullshit lately, that Charlie Munger clearly has not read anything about Bitcoin. And I'm not sure that I disagree, because every single time I hear them talk about it, I get mixed up between like what is reality and what is that term that we use in Ethereum scaling. They're giving me proof of zero knowledge, when in reality over here in Ethereum, we're supposed to be talking about zero knowledge proofs. It hurts, man, because honest to God, like, this is the future of finance, the future of tech. Like, it does not need to be this much of a barrier for people to actually just take up time and read. There's enough material out there on it, why this is actually a material development and why you should care. So yeah, I'm just caught up on that one line, because I think that they're never going to change. It's that same idea that you get about, like, you know, everybody of the generation that came before you, right? They're never going to change. They're stuck in their ways. This is an example of when that is absolutely the case. They're never going to change. So why do we keep fucking asking them? Like, that's where I sit with it, man. Honest to God. But Gary, like, do you feel a similar way with how it is right now, or do you think that there's going to be a time when they come around?
So Novax, you were talking about currency distribution, and Stephen Miller, you're talking about Charlie Munger not reading anything and having proof of zero knowledge, which I love. I don't think I've ever heard that before. So the currency distribution we'll get into in a second. There's just no way around that. It's always going to happen. And there's probably a way around it, but it's going to be really, you know, complex or something, and having to do proof of humanity and AI. And but Stephen, I think with the Charlie Munger, with the proof of zero knowledge, I almost feel, you know, he must be a smart guy, and he must have really smart people around him. And I know sometimes when you have a boss, like, your boss doesn't want to hear something. There's a lot of smart people that aren't super vocal in support of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, although, you know, their actions definitely speak louder than the words. For example, Apple. If you look up how much, you know, Bitcoin Apple has, it's a significant amount. You know, Tesla has great holdings. You know, I think Twitter has holdings. Cash App has, you know, all these big companies have holdings in cryptocurrency. But at the same time, they're not super vocal. You know, like, you hear more about them starting their own coin than the Bitcoins that they own. Like, and the reason they're not vocal, I think, is partly political. You know, it's the same reason why everyone was so hard on, like, the government was so hard on Libra, because Libra was going to create a basket of reserve currencies. Other countries have had leaders toppled for less. or the same. And I think Charlie Munger is a whole other bag of chips. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett there, because they are like bankers. They're bigger than bankers, right? Why are they bigger than bankers? Because they literally owned a bank, right? Like his stock holding is really significant in bank holdings, and at least it was, and maybe he's cut back a lot in the past couple of years. But he was supporting the stocks, and like basically the 2008 crisis, Warren Buffett got called into a room, right? Like there's all the airplanes that all fly in, and they all they're all flying into Omaha, or they're all flying in, they're all talking, because you get all these billionaires together that basically back up the dollar. And they all have to back up the dollar, because if they don't back up the dollar, then it's going to be a catastrophic failure for the rest of the system. And for them, their level of wealth, they can't just go to their, Charles Schwab account and pull their stocks, right? Because they're such a large owner of the stock, they would be pulling the rug out from under themselves, right? They can't. If you're the largest position, you need buyers to buy in, otherwise you crash the price. And so I'm just more likely to believe, I know it's like almost more of a conspiracy, but I'm more likely to believe that they understand exactly what Bitcoin is. They understand exactly what Bitcoin means. And they know that once that ship starts filling with Bitcoin, that's going to cause a systemic failure of the rest of the system. And because they're such a large holder of the rest of the system, like think about it, their normal strategy, that their base, like zero operating, ground floor operating, is to have 20% of their portfolio in cash. So if they have like 80% of their portfolio, or even 60% of their portfolio, it doesn't matter, like 80 to 60% of their portfolio in cash, stocks, and like 20 to 40% in cash, and you can fact check like some of these numbers, or at least what they are currently. But yeah, so basically normally that cash is zero, because the dollar is always a dollar, Benjamin's always a Benjamin. And so the cash is just going against the rest of the stocks. If you start introducing Bitcoin, then that 1% in Bitcoin goes to 100%. The stocks go down compared to Bitcoin. The cash goes down compared to Bitcoin. The only thing that makes sense is for him to put billions and billions of dollars into Bitcoin, which then causes systemic failure for like the rest of the system and the rest of the companies. And so, the government wouldn't like it if he did that. You know what I mean? I just think it's all connected with, he's such a large domino. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's really comparable to what's going on within like every other financial market. They're whale wallets, right? They prop up the system. If you see the whale wallets exiting all in one rapid, succession, like naturally speaking, a lot of people are going to lose faith. So it makes nothing but sense, especially if you put it in that type of lens. So I appreciate the take on it.
Right? Like, what do you think about that? Do you really think Charlie Munger doesn't understand Bitcoin, or do you think he understands it perfectly? And he knows if he starts talking positively about it, the whole deck of cards starts to crumble.
So I'm gonna be brutal again. Like I'm all flames today. All right. I gotta tell you, I think that Charlie Munger is an idiot who does not read. I think that he is told by Warren Buffett what to say and when to say it. And I think Warren Buffett gets it. That's kind of where I'm at. So Munger is like the puppet of the mix, and there's not a lot cooking up top.
Okay, so they both say the same thing. They both say it's rat poison. Maybe we should ban it. They're essentially like maybe adjacent on the opinions, right? If not in the same spot. But you think that, like I'm saying, Warren Buffett understands the risk that Bitcoin poses, and Charlie Munger really doesn't, and he's just, what do you call it?
On a leash?
Like, yeah, like I don't know, like a right-hand man or something like that.
I mean, like Gary and Novak's, like, ask yourselves this question: when was the last time that Charlie Munger said something that was an independent thought? Because if you look at exactly what Warren Buffett says, anytime he goes on air, he's echoing the exact same shit. So like I'm convinced that he's just getting his notes from Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett understands the risk that it poses. That's the only way that I like to view it anymore.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. And then jumping over to, I just want to talk about what Novak was saying before we do. What's up, Ada? How you doing?
How's it going, friends?
Cheers.
Hello. Apologize for the tardiness.
Cheers.
Novak, what's going on? Cheers.
Hey, good to see you. Good to see you.
I have this coffee and Tears of My Enemies drink because I am off alcohol and caffeine and sugar for a while. Hence the Tears of My Enemies. Because gotta run on something. But happy Whiskey Wednesday.
I will drink an extra glass tonight during the show in solidarity.
Oh, thank you. You're a true friend. Yeah, what's going on, guys?
We were just about to go back to what we were just talking about Bitcoin being rat poison and a gambling token that is only going to hurt people, according to Warren Buffett and his Charlie Munger friend, and how, do they know how dangerous it is? Do they not know how dangerous it is? And then dangerous it is, right? Like versus like how it's going to affect their holdings. And then we're also, Novak was talking about token distribution and how distributions are set. And so I just wanted to bring up the Bitcoin rich list, oldie but a goodie, and just talk about how, what do we got here? 93%. How should we say this? 82%. Let's see. 82%. Let's go with that one. 82% of all the Bitcoin in the world. Let me highlight it. Should I give it like an orange? Is 82% of all the Bitcoin in the world is owned by people that have at least 10 Bitcoin in their wallet. And so if you add the people that have at least one Bitcoin, it jumps up to 93%. And then kind of what's interesting, let me think, how do I read this again? 92, 900.
So that principle of FOMO, I really hate being left out of the group that doesn't have one Bitcoin. So like, I'm going to do everything I can this year to get into that group that has one Bitcoin so that I can feel a little bit more included.
All right. So if you get one Bitcoin, then you're going to be part of the top 1.8%. Let me make this green. So you're going to be part of if you have one Bitcoin, you'll be part of the 1.8% who will own 2%. You'll be part of the 2% of all the people in the world. That's a better way of saying it. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second here, okay? If you own one Bitcoin, you'll be part of the 2% of the people in the world that own 93% of all the Bitcoin. So let me phrase it like that. 93% of all the Bitcoin in the world is owned by 2% of all the addresses. Kind of sad if you get into the advanced thinking of it. But if you have one Bitcoin, that's good. If you have any Bitcoin, that's good. Like if you have 0.01 Bitcoin, I know people that have 0.01 Bitcoin, they are part of 25% of all the Bitcoin addresses in the world that own 99.7%. So if you have even 0.01 Bitcoin, then you're part of the top 25% of all the addresses.
That is in some ways like mind-blowing. And I remember we used to do these charts back in the olden days, as my kids would say, of minting coins. In 2016, 17, which totally feels like olden days. It's interesting because not a lot of it had changed, but it's always really, really interesting to look at the bottom part. Wow. I just heard myself somewhere. That was so bizarre. It's
that was definitely not me. I not me at all. Nope.
Wait, somebody told me that they are never, ever, ever wrong today. Like maybe once or twice.
Hey, Meta 8 was in a space recently, taking AI, taking voice sampling from people in the space, and then generating like AI prompt of their voice. So he had Evan 15 talking back to Evan, and Evan was like,
I love that.
"Okay, enough." He's like, "It's too creepy."
It is so creepy. I mean, it's just so creepy. I mean, even back in the back in the days where like we didn't have those recordings. I mean, now it's like I kind of will go back and re-listen to myself. So it's definitely I've got a little bit immune. But back in the days, really the only times you would listen to yourself is like if there was a voicemail of you somewhere. I mean, unless you're like a performer and you're used to listening to your recordings. But if you're like an average human, you never ever listen. And I don't know what it is about the sound of our voice that just makes I don't, it's like so startling. Like something in your being just goes like, what the hell? Am I hearing voices in my head? Like, am I okay? What's going on? I used to have this, so Gary and I used to have this thing that it's like, you want to kind of look at, what the 10% is of the supply. And so my goal, and that was like back when Bitcoin was, $600 or so, $800 or even like $1,000 to have 21. Like that was like, I wanted to have 21 Bitcoin. It's like a really like
1 million.
I think
that was a 1 million club.
Yeah, 1 millionth club. And I think now we are in the, if you have one, like I think you're really good.
Yeah,
like,
when you have one,
I think everybody should have one. Everybody should have one.
But everybody
and it's not
won't
an easy
one.
task.
Everybody won't have one. Everybody won't have. Keep in mind, when we started doing this, I used to tell everybody, like back in 2017, we used to tell everyone that there's 43 million millionaires in the world.
Oh yeah,
43 million millionaires that have at least like $1 million and their house paid off. And now there's actually something like 63 million millionaires in the world. Although there's 63 million millionaires in the world, not all of those will have one Bitcoin, because I can tell you, there's only this number right here. There's only 800,000 addresses. Even if I add these up, there's less than 1 million addresses that have at least one Bitcoin. Like for a fact, right now there's less than 1 million addresses. So if every single one of those people is a millionaire, that's only 1 million of them. And not all some of these people are just like are part of the poors, and they just happen to have like a whole Bitcoin. No one knows that they're a millionaire or one Bitcoin holder. And right here in purple and cyan in the bottom, there's only 2 million Bitcoin addresses that have more than $10,000 in Bitcoin right now. Out of 63 million millionaires in the world. And I know some of them are holding on to MicroStrategy or GBTC or maybe they got something in Coinbase. I don't know. But in terms of raw people that are sovereign, talking about real sovereign people, not second or third hand citizens on Coinbase. But in terms of like primary sovereign citizens, there's only 2 million addresses that have $10,000. There's only 74,000 addresses out of 63 million millionaires. There's only 74,000 addresses that have at least $1 million in Bitcoin. So this is highly concentrated. We don't know how much of this is actually lost. We have other charts to know that.
And then there's like a whole chunk in Satoshi's account, right? That like never ever been touched.
Satoshi has 1 out of every 20 Bitcoin in the world. Satoshi has, and if you think that's crazy, 184 has 1 out of 1,000 of the ENS 999 clubs. There's 63 million millionaires, and 184 has 1 of the 1,000 names.
Yo, I just want to take this moment to welcome 184. But before doing that, I have to flex that 184 is a really nice domain. I mean, it is super nice. And It is 1 of 1,000, which is pretty nice. 1 of 1,000 is good. You know what's nice though? 1 of 1. 1 of 1 is nice. Red Heart Ethereum .eth.
184. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Let's what do you got for us? Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Let us
Wow,
toast.
Gary just pulled a Steve. I love it.
Gary hates that domain. I don't know
Let
why.
us toast to Ada's enemies. The tears of Ada's enemies, I believe it was. And yes, the math does
Cheers.
stack up. I have 1 of 1,000, and I've checked that twice. It is correct.
Well, 1 of 999. Actually, it's a 999 because the zero. Does the zero count?
Yes.
Okay.
I was on mute, but yeah, 0 counts.
Yes.
The Arabs did it right. Okay, you got to have 0. And listen, that's just time for a pet peeve. You had to freaking bring this up. You know what I freaking hate about NFT collections? NFT collections that don't use 0. NFT collections that have metadata and they don't use the word none. Dude, when I'm looking at, I don't care if it's a penguin or an ape or a unicorn or a chupacabra. If it has a baseball hat or a winter hat, I want to be able to see the chupacabras that have no hat. Nobody ever puts a none in the field if it's none. And because they don't put the word none, I can't sort by the word none because they don't have enough foresight as mathematical developers to put the number 0, the word none. And it's so frustrating because I want to search by an absence of something, which is an advanced mathematical concept. I mean, the Romans never put a 0 in there.
I'm just going to put it out there. On-Chain Monkey does it, but that's fine. We're going to let that be for just a quick moment here to take pause and let you guys know. I assume that everybody here has seen Family Guy, that crazy animation show. Yeah, this exact moment of Gary going off reminds me of when Peter Griffin got on the news and started this segment. It's called, "You Know What Grinds My Gears?" That's absolutely what Gary is doing right now, and I love it. I want more Gary having what grinds my gears rants. God damn, that was funny.
Yeah, he's getting sassy.
Yeah, man. And people told me to bring my sass level down on Twitter.
What?
Hell
Why?
no.
People said, some people said I'm a little rough around the edges sometimes.
You're an engagement machine.
Yeah. Well, listen, I need someone to pimp out my Twitter skills. You got to be like, listen, you give us like 10 Ethereum. Gary will like complain about something. We'll get like 1 million people to like comment for or against it. Everybody loves him or hates him. They're all going to say something. You ever see the Howard Stern movie?
Hey, people love polarizing people. Like nobody likes peacemakers, especially in places like Twitter. It has to be like the more polarizing you are, the better.
I disagree with that, but not in its entirety. That might be the thing that people like polarizing because it gets the conversation going. But then, and we're allowed to say swear words, right, on this channel, a creative word. Then what happens? So people
You just can't say medical words.
Okay. So people like that controversial figure, but that's just the spark. Then people love agreement. And so it becomes its own, and here's the creative word, circle jerk. That's what people love. People love the circle jerk.
Not only do they love the circle jerk, but depending on the situation, some people would refer to it as makeup sex.
You could call it that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just going some dark places.
I wouldn't call it that.
Was this the after show already? Are we?
Yeah, I'm like, did I miss something?
We're
I
only
get
at the
caught in
half
a
hour
time
mark,
warp?
people.
It kind of makes me wonder if me
What?
and ENS Maxis will ever have makeup sex.
I feel like that could happen. You had a lot of apes. You can't have that many apes and have it be over forever. It's always going to be the ape that got away situation.
Yeah, I mean,
It would have to be
there
really smart to pull me in.
there's apparently been like a lot of fighting and poking the bears with the hot stick. But you know, I mean,
Can I poke the bear and say, who cares? Who cares?
I mean,
Let's talk
I
about
really
a project.
don't. I'm
Let's
just
talk
like,
about OCM because they're actually doing something. They actually are something. Let's talk about a project that, yeah, who cares?
You want to know who's on the floor of the NYSE in the next like day? OCM. It's okay. Y'all didn't buy when you had the opportunity. That's all I'm saying. All right?
Bro, IPOs never go well for me, bro. I've never had an IPO go well. I've never had one go well.
Steve, remind me after the show. I do want to ask you something about that. So we'll talk. Remind me.
wow, there's gonna be an after show.
No, this can't go in the after show.
This is like an after. This is the after in the dark show.
Yeah. It's like it's the late. Shouldn't you be in bed by now? Late show. And it'll be publicized in 10 years.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Yeah, delayed
But
publication.
only because of something offensive you accidentally said or something.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
not Gary. Gary would never say anything offensive.
We're gonna make a blockchain app where you say something really nice about people, but it gets time delayed, like at least 12 months, and hopefully no one uses it to say bad things. But you know, it's like future delayed message.
I just
don't
realized
have that much faith in humanity.
Guys, it just became so easy to wish your loved ones happy birthday, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever, for the rest of their lives and the rest of your life and beyond your life. From here with the new Hallmark, Hallmark.eth, you can record your AI voice and have it send a greeting in your voice. Happy 45th birthday, Gary Palmer Jr. What a beautiful, from whoever you want, from your grandmother, still talking to you from the grave 70 years later, old lassie. Doesn't it sound nice?
Only if it's signed by her ENS name. Otherwise, I won't believe that shit.
Yeah.
True.
Grandma
You want the authenticated, like authentic grandmother, not the fake granny. That could go wrong.
That would be.
I mean,
wrong
yeah. I
also
mean,
in
you
some
buy
ways.
a Gucci bag, you want to know it came from Gucci.
Yeah, not Canal Street in New York City.
Yet another use case for ENS. This is outstanding. You got to think into the distant future, a few generations. It's a long-term project that actually kind of makes sense.
Hey, I said that like some of like the uses of ENS we haven't even thought of. Like we just like in 10 years, hopefully we can have like, if this show isn't running, we can have like a reunion and we can kind of like look back of like all the craziness and all the fuckery that had happened.
We won't need to. We'll be hooked up to the Neuralink, so instead of having the thing, and we'll just be like, the experience will be like instantaneous, but it'll be really delightful.
You will be. I won't be. But good luck with that. Good luck with that.
No, I'm with you. We just had this conversation on the space.
Hell
So funny.
I know. I was listening. I was like, I wasn't on the space, but I was on the space with Gary, and I was like listening to it, and I'm like, hell no.
You know what's interesting about cell phones is that when cell phones first came out, the rich could afford them and you couldn't. And the rich had cell phones. And then what happened? And then what happened is that everybody got a cell phone. And so what the rich did is that they hired someone to carry their cell phone. And they stopped having cell phones. And so if we were to extrapolate that to the Neuralink, when the Neuralink comes out, there's going to be the people that can afford it, and they're gonna get the Neuralink. And then once everybody can get the Neuralink, then the cool rich person thing to do would be to be the person that doesn't have the Neuralink, to hire the people who have the Neuralink, and then tell them then they're basically your human interface. They're your human computer interface.
Right. Fractionalize F-15. Perfect.
What the hell's F-15 in Gwayman?
Wait, we were supposed to have Gwayman too?
No,
where are they?
Wayman said he was going to flip a coin. That's how he feels about us. He's like, Gary, let me tell you how I feel about Gary. I'll flip a coin.
What a hater.
I'm going to do bad things in his DMs.
There's so many ways to misconstrue that, and I'm just gonna not let it happen. But honest to God, I heard that the only way the Gwayman shows up these days is if there's a POAP. So it may explain.
Oh, I can start making POAPs. That's like super easy.
I love
I
making
did like,
POAP.
oh, we totally. I'm going to make Minty
We
Coins
should have
POAP.
POAPs.
I'm so
Bro,
on it. Yep, we're having a
we
Minty
should-
Coins POAP.
Can we do? I don't know how much work it is. Can we do 2 POAPs? Can
We
we
could
do?
Easy.
Can we do 1 POAP for
And-
everybody on the show, and then we do another POAP for people during the show, like for viewers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
Hell
then,
yeah.
like, make it so that so the
Crazy.
reruns it wouldn't work because it would only be good for that 24 hours or that 12 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
we jump over into Nifty Chat, and we have our POAP gated rooms. So you can have for everybody that attends, you can have for the hosts, you might even have it for each week or each month or Q1, Q2, whatever it could be. But
I mean, it's not just like Nifty Chat. It's like, it could be the Shopify stores could be token gated. Chat could be token gated. Website pages could be token gated. Literally.
I'm just talking.
making
I'm
some
talking what's
co-ops.
ready today in 2 clicks.
Yeah.
So
Well, I like
what's
a
ready?
gated chat for
Shopify
live
is
chat
right
during the
today.
show. I like
Yeah.
that for live chat during the show. Just people popping into Nifty Chat instead of on the comments on YouTube. It kind of disparate between YouTube and wherever else we're restreaming to on Twitter or whatever. Rather having everyone's comment and engagement about the show occurring right on Nifty Chat in a POAP gated way. That's actually pretty innovative
Yeah.
thinking. 184.
There's a show that Steve is on often that I listen to, just because like pure research, because it's like ran by a bunch of pros. So like I listen and I see what they do and they host it and I take notes. So you can watch video on YouTube, but then also streams on Spaces on Twitter, and it's like in both places, and then they kind of close the YouTube show, but then you continue with the Twitter, right? And you bring like for Q&A, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. And they have it like dialed in super great. And I was like, it's kind of somewhere on probably the whiteboard to like pick Steve's brains about it one day, because I think it's like a pretty innovative thing. And I definitely thought I was like, would it make sense? Because now we have the Thursday space and I love it. And I love that it's like one of those spaces that we can like dive really, really deep and really focus on technology, which is great. But I was like wondering, I'm like, would it holy tongue today, would it make more sense to move this to Twitter Spaces? But the problem with Twitter Spaces, there's no longevity in it. So this is like it builds visibility over time. Like if you have YouTube, like you can always go back, like we can go back to the shows that I did in 2016, 2017 and say, hey, we've been doing this for this amount of time. Twitter, it just disappears. And so it has engagement right now, but it doesn't have engagement later. But that might be an interesting way to address it or to experiment with it. I don't still know how I feel about it, because this is what I call my very close friends circle, where we get to like drink whiskey and talk about the state of the world. And it's super amazing. And it's
a very safe, unsafe space.
Well, I mean, I don't know what's unsafe about it.
It just depends on how much the world's burning that day.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's
It's true.
unsafe because some people don't want to know the truth, and so
then
so it could be unsafe if you're not ready to hear something. Then it could be. So it's a safe place in terms of you're with friends, but it's not safe because we're dangerous. We're talking about dangerous stuff.
Maybe we need a disclaimer. Steve can do the disclaimer because he sounds like very serious in comparison to the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna literally start out the disclaimer with, "Welcome to Minting Coins. This is your disclaimer." Most professional disclaimer reader ever.
Love it.
The whole flow you were talking about, though, is actually a really interesting thing. I still don't fully understand the tech stack that they're using to make that happen. So I'm gonna unpack that in a little bit with them, like their actual team behind the scenes, because I want to figure it out and help you guys actually do that, because it's not hard. They're using StreamYard.
Yeah, and it's amazing because they, like, today was it on a show today, or I think it was today, or right? They were like bringing people from Twitter, and then there was like a little thing that said, "Hey, the voice of so and so," and it was amazing. Like it totally like it allowed for that very seamless integration between the technologies, where it's like you get the longevity of YouTube. And I think that there are huge benefits of being on YouTube, and you still get that visual piece, which for me, it's very important. Like I don't get that in no way on Spaces, and Spaces have, like, they are amazing. But I think that if we can integrate that in such a way that it's like not awkward, or it's not like only the people who are on stage or only the people who are on YouTube are talking and then everybody else is listening, but you can actually pull people on stage. And so, and I don't know, like, who they have behind the scenes that might be doing the technology. And I don't know if it requires the person to be behind the scenes, but I mean, there's like two of us, like we've got many fingers to push buttons. I think it's doable.
Soon enough, we'll be able to hire an AI bot, and the AI bot will be able to do all that stuff. We'll just be able to talk, and the software, the bot will just be like, yeah, I know what you guys are talking about. I know when to do that.
Yeah. Today we were driving around and putting together a dream team.
Yeah. You guys were all on the dream team. You're on the dream team, and you're on the dream team, and you're on the dream team. Shit's happening, guys. People would complain that there's long periods of time where things aren't happening. They complain in Ethereum that, when's you guys promised we're going to do staking. Oh, you promised we're going to do this. Why is it taking so long? Same thing with ENS. When wrapper. But here we are. Cointelegraph reporting less than 1% of the staked Ethereum Ether is estimated to be sold after the Shanghai upgrade, and people are able to unstake their Ether from the proof of stake validators. There's an analytics firm. They're saying only 253 validators have signed up to fully exit their staked position. And this 170,000 Ethereum Ether is only $18 million. Going to be unlocked the first week. Figure comprises 100,000 Ether plus 70,000 Ether, 133 million. Figure comprises, what is it, big and chain of the total? Oh, I read that wrong. It's 170 Ether is going to be unstaked of the 18.1 million Ethereum. Yeah, so I totally read that incorrectly. Which is 133 million dollars that's going to be unstaked. But that $133 million is only representing, 1% of the total. Bunch of fancy charts here on Twitter. And just goes on into the article. But basically only 1%. Even in the extreme case where the maximum amount of reward and stake are withdrawn and sold, the sell side volume still falls within the range of the average weekly exchange inflow. The average weekly exchange inflow, which means that the average amount of money that's going in and out of Ethereum, that's going into it, is going into Ethereum, the inflow is about, 133 million. So basically they're saying the market's just going to absorb this. The market's just going to purchase that Ethereum. And what people are going to see is that as Ethereum, what we have seen is that as Ethereum gets used more, then we actually have a deflationary aspect to Ether. And that value is going to the validators. This is like free money. If you have money, you buy Ether, you start up a node, which, you got to know how to do. And then you just make like a certain, APY. What do we got here? We got some charts over here showing the number of people who are underwater versus in profit, showing the age of stakes pre-launch. versus, sooner versus later. Depositors that have one validator versus depositors that have 2 to 200 validators. And then we have institutional versus non-institutional type organizations. So the big thing here is that 77% of these accounts are 2 years old plus, and about the same, 75% of these accounts are underwater. If these people have the cash flow, if they have the money to maintain, it makes no sense for them to pull their money out. Just let it ride, let it build Ether, let it continue validating. These people believe in Ether, they believe in Ethereum, they believe in proof of stake. It might be underwater in terms of dollar value. It's not underwater in terms of Ether. In terms of Ether value, they are making money essentially every day. And so as they continue making money validating as a validator, and then Ether does go to that $10,000 mark, $10,000 a coin, that shilling point. It's just free money. So this is going to be a financial vehicle as long as this is up and around and working, right? If you're a financial, person, you can get a known APY. Up here it says 50% are profitable, 1.8% APY. Again, that's probably when converting for dollars too. So,
also just don't forget, a lot of these guys are running proof of work GPU miners, big stacks, a lot of amperage, a lot of energy costs previously. And so
yeah.
At this moment, anyone who's running validators is kind of like probably like, damn, what a miracle. It's my electricity bill is nothing. The hardware cost is nothing. And maybe they're able to sell some of their GPUs that they're not using. I mean, I really don't know the exact hardware requirements for these validators. I looked into it a little bit. I'm not running one presently. But I think that basically these guys are, a lot of them they're ex-miners probably, a lot of them. And they probably are very chill with the kind of power draw that they're getting. So price of ETH is the price of ETH, It's like whatever.
Yeah, there's no power draw. This is just like a Raspberry Pi or like a really small computer or a basic machine running and like plugged into like a normal outlet. And they got to make sure that the internet doesn't go down and shit. And I think there's like Avado. We should get like an affiliate link for them. But there's like Avado machines, I think they're called, which do that. It's like plug in. You just buy it and you plug it in, deposit your 32 Ethereum, and it just works. It's like, you just 32 Ethereum, plug it into the wall. You know what the hell you're doing, and it's making money without that major power draw. Huge benefits for those people. Yeah, just to throw it out there, just so you guys know, if random fact, the Shanghai upgrade is set to take effect April 12th. That's the day. At 12:30 p.m. UTC. The unlocking of the staked Ether is going to be enabled by the Ethereum EIP 4895. Of the 5 EIPs that will be activated by Shanghai, it is by far the most anticipated one. It will move Ethereum one step closer, because we're not there yet, but it'll move it one step closer to a fully functioning proof of stake system. I bet people are very excited. This is expecting to not have an effect on the price. If not, and some people are saying it's actually going to make the price go up. So this is very bullish. It's like we're not seeing a situation where everybody wants to get the hell out of Dodge. Seeing a situation where, people are sticking around. And, just same shit, different day. Ethereum is super secure. There's a lot of people who are building on it. There's a lot of things happening. And more people want to be part of the network. We see growth in Ethereum. We see growth in projects. We see growth in code and integrations. We see growth with ENS. All across the board. Only more and more shit happening. I have a little anxiety. because I just know we gotta build shit now, because all these new people are going to be coming in like a year, in exactly 12 months. We're going to start seeing onboarding into Web3 again, in 12 months. Can somebody Google when's the next Bitcoin halving, mathematically expected to be? It's 2024 sometime.
2024.
Yeah, but what do we know what month even? Because once that halving hits,
Is it May?
It's not going to be exactly the same as it was last year, or 4 years ago. But whatever, if someone wants to Google that. But yeah, once that halving hits, then we know that's like a 2-year timer. Like a 1-year, 2-year timer for people to start getting in, for the price to start going up. We know we're going to get all these new people, and we want our products and our services to be ready, because you don't want the top of the next market to come and be like, oh, I should start my shit now, and then have it done right when everything's going downhill. It's the proverbial mistake.
I'm really curious. I'll be really curious to find out whether, like, what is the pathway the majority of the new people are onboarding? I think, during the last cycle, it was probably NFTs. I'm curious, like, what it is right now, especially as we are in a bear market. And, it's interesting. Maybe. I mean, it's interesting because I look at like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the people that have been in for a while, like, we know, like, it's not going anywhere. Like, you can put your money in it and it's like, there's no way it's going to go to zero. There's like not even a way that it's going to tank to the point where you're like, I lost my life savings. But it's interesting because I think of this time, like, it's like, to the rest of the world, this is like the deadest of the dead. Like, nobody talks about it. And we always kind of go back and compare it to what we know. So we look at Web3. Well, exactly. So we take Web3, we compare it to Web2, but it doesn't always go like this. And so even like this bear market, it's nothing like the last bear market. Like, but it's like, I was thinking right today. And so what we meant by community in 2017 was like running Bitcoin meetups and sitting around a table with like 10 other individuals that have been like, mining Bitcoin forever, speaking language that I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. All guys, like, hardcore geeks. And comparing it to what crypto communities right now, right? Totally different. But it's like, my dad called me today, of course, like in the middle of my workday. He's like, you're busy? And I'm like, it's 3 p.m. I am like always busy at 3 p.m. Like, the chances are I'm working. But he goes on this whole thing about, so I need some time for you to like sit down and explain this whole crypto thing to me. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I just need you to like sign me up and like buy me this thing that I never heard of. That's like some 0.006. Cause my friend sometime said that 5 years ago, it was like this. And I'm like, Dad, I am so not signing up for the scam. And he's like, well, what do you buy? And I'm like, 4 coins, like 4. I like do not diversify in a lot of ways. And I was like, and it's like, I like never lost money, just like looking at it from a point of view of like, just putting money in over time. Like, did my portfolio shrink? Like, fuck yeah. I totally wish that I'm like, wow, I wish I knew that we were on the top, because I definitely would have taken some out, but whatever, just got to sit on it for however many years. But it's like really interesting because like I gauge it, like I always gauge it by like the people that I go to networking events with. And when they start talking about it, then I know it's like people are talking about it. And if they say nothing, then I'm like, it's a graveyard. And it hasn't been a graveyard this time. Like that's, my very long-winded point. It's that it's constantly in the news. And I think that people are constantly getting onboarded, not in that rush that we're going to see in a few more years, but it hasn't like died. And so it's going to get resurrected in a different way. And so I'm very, very curious what that next rush is going to be. And I am predicting that it's not just going to be like people that like want to pump and dump. I think we're going to see a lot more people that will come in for the technology because they've heard about it for such a long time. I mean, there's always going to be pumpers and dumpers. I mean, you know, like we need our entertainment. Like, what am I going to eat my popcorn to, right? Like, I got to make fun of someone. Like, there's got to be projects. Like, come on.
I'm with Gary on the pumps. We're not going to avoid them ever, I guess. Yeah, huh? Right, Ada. We could always have to contend with the scammers and the freaking people.
There's
and
always
pumping up
been
groups.
There's still, I mean, the world is filled with all kinds of scammers. And so it's the reason that we see more of them in Web3 is because we don't have, there isn't as much regulations yet. Like,
I think the next, I agree that there'll be the highs and the lows of the market, and we'll see a massive influx, but I think it's going to be based around the communities and social circles that exist, not in the sense that we talk about community, and I'm going to throw the word in again, the circle jerk community, but rather people being attracted to come in and they're existing within a space that's native to them. It's just that entity or that thing that they were already doing is now suddenly introducing layers that exist on the blockchain. So, you know, what is an example of this? It's very easy to say gaming. I could say that metaverse was probably too early for itself, and I don't think we're going to see a metaverse rush, but it does give an example of where people can exist and operate. So if you had PlayStation, if you had Sony, you know, come out and say, or Reddit, you know, Reddit have their different avatars and people exist there. That's how they're onboarded. And they're inside of that community, they're doing things, and suddenly they'll get creative. And so it stays with NFTs, but it's NFTs that exist inside of a community rather than NFTs that have suddenly been created. I don't think we're going to get what we had before, which is tons and tons of new projects that see financial growth. I think it will go back to those that have some form of legacy or have that collector appeal. And I don't think historical NFTs all have that collector appeal. They do need to have some novelty beyond just being something from an age before. So if it doesn't have value today, and if it doesn't have kind of a memeness, I don't think it'll have that much value in future. And the other communities are the ones that are continually creating things, and hopefully they'll last long enough to attract the next group of people that come in and aren't coming in because they're attached to Reddit or attached to Sony or attached to Puma, whatever it might be. Yeah, those are my thoughts. The NFTs will win. It's just going to be a different combination, and historical is relevant, but not all historical.
Yeah, it's fair to say that 99% of all the ICOs failed and will continue to be dead, even though those tokens will exist forever. And it'll be interesting to see how some of them are resurrected in the future. Same thing with NFTs. 99% of them are going to fail. Mm-hmm. Although, you know, some of them are going to, failed projects are going to be alive. And think about this real quick, because I love thinking about this. Imagine some failed NFT project that maybe has CCO or something like that. And the 10,000 PFP project, a bunch of the wallets are dead, lost. You happen to have a certain amount of them. You've been like scooping up the floor. Maybe you secure like 500 or 1,000 of them, right? Or 100 of them even. You might be able to have enough to resurrect that project and bring it back to life. And some kid is going to do that. Imagine if Fraggle Rock was a 10,000 PFP and you got a bunch of people to collect like 1,000 of them, right? 10% at least. And then you made a new market, and that's basically like 1,000 that are liquid, and the other 8,000 or whatever, 9,000 are like sort of like dead wallets. And like you like retro a TV show. What's dead can never die. But yeah, most things are going to go to zero. Some things will be good forever. Ada's asking what's gonna bring things back. Part of me, my prediction is that part of it is going to be retro. What do I mean by retro? I think part of it's going to go back to our roots. We started with Bitcoin, cypherpunk, cryptography, security, freedom. Kind of went into, shit coins and ICOs and, NFTs and all this crazy stuff. And I think it's going to retro back to the hardcore cypherpunk, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. I think people are going to get censored, like Operation Choke Point 2.0 and the banks getting cut off. I think that's going to happen more, with the Restrict Act, which got a lot of people paying attention who wouldn't normally pay attention, aren't crypto people. And so I think part of it's going to be the cypherpunk, but part of me, I think, and I hope, because I'm a other side holder, so I have all the game pieces to the other side game. And there's also this article here that I pulled up, which is Sony files patent for NFTs to allow transfers between games and consoles, PS4 to PS5, console to console, VR headsets, computers, different consoles, different games, game to game, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to have some Evil Dead game that's going to be able to have an interoperable thing with a hockey game. You're going to get Evil Dead hockey. I don't know how that's going to work. But I do think, with the investment that Yuga has received from A16Z, with all the success that Yuga has had doing, everything that Yuga's doing, with things like this Sony patent, which I think is just like kind of like a big deal. I think that on the lighter side of things, the game, it was NFTs. The next thing is going to be gaming. But I also think that the fall of the US dollar, or like stumbling at the very least, is going to shift a huge focus from normal people to be like, what the hell is going on? I got to get 1% Bitcoin. And their kids are going to want the gaming. So the world's going to be burning. The boomers are going to be figuring out what the hell is Bitcoin. And all these Gen Z babies, or Gen AZ, whatever comes after Z, they're going to be checking out Yuga. They're going to be farming Yuga assets. Like Yuga, I hope, is the next sort of Roblox or something, like a Web 2 economy where people are going to be farming items, crafting items. Some people are going to be just buying those items and playing the game at normal gamer prices. And other people are going to be investing thousands of dollars to own a Mara, to like collect things raw, and then to sell that in a decentralized economy into ApeCoin. It's I just think that Yuga, we should have like a whole show about Yuga and how do you say it? Amamoka Labs. I phonetically have a hard time with that. Wah wah wah.
You got 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I just hope that the gaming, because I'm an asset owner, and I do see the progress that they're making. It was a lot of fun going to the other side and having 7,000 people play the game all at the same time. And they are creating really cool game mechanics. It's really interesting. You can't see everything, right? Like, you can see some of what they're doing. Some of what they're doing is coming to the light, coming up to the fort, but a lot of things are like still like hidden in the darkness. You can't even like see them, kind of like Evan 15. It's like a shadow. He's like a shadow person. It scares me. Is he frozen? We gotta get you light. We gotta get you some 3-point lighting.
Yeah, I definitely gotta get that on. My bad. I'll try.
No, it's fine. It's cool.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm with you. The gaming, like my generation and like even younger than me, that's like their shit. Like when I think of like, especially like maybe like 10 to 15-ish, like for Fortnite and whatnot, like V-Bucks is like their life. Like I've seen people like, they're like, yeah, I'm not interested in school. I'm not interested in this, but they're like, oh, you want some V-Bucks? And they're like, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. Like, and so like, I'm not going to reflect on like whatever, like good or bad, but that's just the reality. And so it makes sense for that to go on the blockchain. It makes sense for these Fortnite skins to be tradable and for us to know the exact amount of scarcity that they have, and being able to attach it to an identity, being able to, use some of these great features that the blockchain adds. And so I tweeted about it recently, but Fortnite recently like enabled NFTs to be in the game, and so there was the first NFT. And so yeah, I'm happy to hear what you're talking about, and I think Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Web3 like companies will lead the way and kind of show, you know, what's possible. And I hope that these big dogs follow suit, and if not, you know, Bored Ape Yacht Club and some of these others will, you know, outcompete them. So yeah, super pumped for this conversation. Yeah, I really like it.
Super exciting, super interesting. A little bit of retro. What the hell's going on with the dollar? Inflation getting rampant, housing prices up and down. People are going to be buying Bitcoin. I've said it before. I say it all the time. I have like one indicator. That's it. I'm a simple man. I have simple indicators. When GBTC premium starts decreasing, then the bull market's back. I actually don't know what it is, but it's probably not increasing too much right now. It was really crazy bad. Yeah. Like 40%, super crazy. But yeah, once that GBT premium, and yeah, it's gonna be really, really interesting. And I you know, I have a lot of faith in like Yuga. I mean, it seems like they're rolling things out pretty consistently. They're able to keep secrets, which is a good sign, right? That they're not leaking. And everything seems to be, you know, interactive, and they got like a great team, multiple teams, multiple building. They made a lot of money for a lot of people with the Dookie Dash game already, and how they set up the whole sewer pass game. And I think that's really catching the attention of a lot of gaming companies. I think that, let me think about these years. In 2008, 2009, 2010, that's when iPhones came out, and that's when the App Store became big. They were just normal kids, normal young men and women who developed iOS games like Candy Crush and bullshit like that. And they just happened to make like $300,000-$400,000, and then they tried starting a company and hired people. And they, you know, and then shit got real sophisticated in those app stores real fast with those games and everything else. What happened, the reason I bring that up, what happened is that the traditional gaming companies got slapped in the face. You know, imagine some stupid little game. You got 1 million kids giving you $1, or like 100,000 people giving you $100 a month. And these gaming consoles are like, we're selling one-time $50 games, and and these kids are spending $100 a week, $100 a month, $100 a day. There's 1,000 people spending $100 a day on Clash of Clans. And so I think they have that pain in their memory, and they're probably looking at what, you know, Dookie Dash and the Bored Apes just did with that game. If they're smart, they're looking at that, and they should know they're about to get Netflixed again. If they're smart, they should know they're about to get Netflixed again. And that's why we see Sony saying, hey, these aren't NFTs. We're just creating this digital technology where you can transfer assets interoperably between devices, you know? And yeah, super exciting. I'm super bullish on the games, super bullish on the technology. So much is being built right now. People aren't going to see the pieces until they're already on the board. The next bull market's going to come. People will be like, oh my God, look, these things are connecting, or where'd that come from? Or look at these people, or look at that project. Like, people don't remember, like, Uniswap came out of nowhere, changed the game. People don't remember. Sushi Swap, Vampire attacked Uniswap. Sushi Swap, even though like Uniswap won and Sushi Swap has been riddled with problems over and over again, Sushi Swap changed the game. They came out of nowhere, made millions of dollars, made and lost millions of dollars, did crazy things. Crazy shit we don't think of is going to happen. And yeah, the hindsight will be 2020. What do you think about that, Evan 15?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, you know, people tend to always, like, whenever I think of a new like innovation, or maybe not new, but whenever an innovation is starting to take off, like I used to see with Tesla. I used to be a big Tesla investor. I think that's a good example of people always kind of are thinking like, oh yeah, the incumbents, they're gonna trump this, they're gonna like, take this over, and they're gonna be the innovators. And it, I think it always comes down to the Yugas, the underdogs, the person that's done it before, the founders that, had the vision from day one. I think they're going to be the ones that really, like I said earlier, like really innovate, really kind of have some great things. And so I think, like you said, the Netflix analogy, I think that's coming. And, I think, some like Sony and some of them, yeah, they'll be good. Epic Games is obviously massive. And, Tim Sweeney is, in my opinion, a genius and is, a complete visionary for gaming. So he's not going away. They'll innovate and add blockchain, before most, in my opinion. But, for the most part, I think you're right. A lot of gaming is going to get switched up. It's going to be a lot of destructive innovation. And I really was impressed by Dookie Dash. Shout out to Mongrel for, joining it. I like what you said about how gaming companies are going to notice it. I'm with you. And so when, me as a social media person, my first thought was, watch how many Twitch streamers are going to get on this. And they took notice. They're like, oh, wait, so Mongrel, who's been playing Fortnite and makes good money, but had to work his ass off for it. Now in a month, he comes in and just makes however much. Like if you think not the whole Twitter and the whole Twitch community of gaming didn't notice it, like that is going to be huge. And like you mentioned, like the mobile gaming, you even think of like, there's like all these little games that can like fall guys and all these games that can blow up out of nowhere. And so all it takes is a bunch of Twitch streamers. So the streamers are creators are learning, like they have a lot of power, and like users follow their footsteps. And if they create good content around a game that's interesting, they can mutually get incentivized to push it to play it on their streams. And so I think, this play to earn is a real thing. And I think Yuga is showing like the way forward, and I expect them to keep leading the way. And I hope Epic Games hops in soon, because Epic Games is massive, and they'll be, I think, the biggest competitor to Yuga if I had to guess in the future. And I think they'll both be doing great. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
100%. I definitely agree with that. And Sony is going for the interoperability. It'll be interesting to see when someone really embraces the full NFT narrative, which the NPCs are typically anti NFTs, but the tide will turn. Novax, what do you got for us? Closing up the show.
Well, okay. Well, I've just been out here surveying the crypto Twitter sphere a little bit, trying to invite some people to come hang with us. So I'm going to say it's nice to see Evan15. Good to see you out here, my friend. And I guess we started the day earlier talking a little bit about AI and AI art, and then brought the convo over here a little bit about, Bitcoin, long-term view. We actually surveyed the Bitcoin whales, so just by way of review of sort of the episodes, pretty dope to look back at the fairly concentrated holdings of Bitcoin, actually. So, I mean, it even kind of solidifies my thinking, although it'd be really cool to see that chart corrected for suspected, lost wallets and so on, because I imagine the supply is significantly less. So just to take that a step further would be a cool study to do. Maybe we could do that in a future episode. But I don't have much to add other than that. It's always good hanging out with you guys. And as you know, I'm very bullish on the cryptos. So just be hodling your crypto, man. Be stacking dollar cost average all the way. I got a background in financial advising, and I'm not your financial advisor and not a financial advisor any longer. But that's the pervasive wisdom in the industry, is that nobody's a good trader, and if you are, you're the Rain Man. It's an anomaly. It's crazy. Even the best fund managers in the world suck at it. And so just DCA, man, just keep buying in steady amount over time. That's how you win.
Let me break this down. If you're a good trader, you're lying to yourself.
And also, it is so sad to be as bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum as I am, like kind of similar to what Stephen was saying earlier. So sad to be that bullish and to have traded so much ETH and Bitcoin for very illiquid ENS domains. So will it have been a good decision? Will my leverage play pay off in the end? I don't know, but maybe I'm going to start correcting the error of my ways. Diversify, friends. Don't be like me.
Novax, sell everything you have and go buy whiskey.eth.
That's a winner. I'm doing things like that. I am concentrating positions because I think that's a winning move. So you just less to worry about.
Man, you can concentrate in this space if you tried.
I just did, man, but you didn't approve my move. That was a 2-for-1. That was a twofer. I like those
Miller?
historical ENS. Good night, guys.
Somebody please give me whiskey.eth. Really want it.
I just searched for sambuca.eth and realized I misspelled it, which means that I probably need to stop drinking.
Yeah, back in my New York City days when I was 20 something, we used to drink flaming shots of sambuca, and I don't know how people didn't get hurt.
It's honest to God one of my favorite liquors of all time, and I don't drink it a lot because it is spirited. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, it's like it'll punch you in the face in the most loving way. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, not bitch slap you. Like it will punch you in the face.
What's the running price on whiskey.eth right now? Can we get there?
20.
20.
Damn, and bourbon.eth too?
Yep.
How about Scotch?
I bet it's all owned by the same person.
Who gives a fuck?
I
Just
know. Like they just swept the floor with all the spirits. I mean, I haven't seen it for sale.
Let's buy it. Let's liquidate some shit. Let's buy it, and let's just let's go talk to our local whiskey distillery.
Hell yeah!
And let's just fucking sell whiskey. We'll have them do the legal shit. You know, they'll ship to anyone that we can legally ship to, and then we'll just let people buy whiskey with Ethereum.
It's worth noting that I think it was, let's say it's 9 or 12 months ago, there were lots and lots of reasonably high bids on a plethora of spirits and alcoholic drinks. And I believe they were higher than 10 and 20 at the time. And ETH was doing what, 3,000-4,000 at the time. So, I mean, these don't come on the market very often.
I know.
And there is an interested buyer out there. There's certainly many. If someone does have it, go and get it. You know, I mean, if you've got three 999 digits, sell 2. Go get whiskey. Absolutely go and get it. It's you may have less liquidity, but I think it's a longer shot. It's a better upside.
I think it's way better. Yeah. Yeah, that's like my dream name. Like I've been stacking that account for a long time. Trust me.
And I believe that I haven't looked actually, but the whiskey account, they did receive bids. My memory tells me they did receive bids and they didn't accept them quite a long time ago. I know it was purchased for 10 ETH, but they did receive some was my memory. So this was the lone wallet that didn't take the opportunity then. They're obviously making some moves now or doing whatever they need to do. But yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. If we see something else going for above 20 that doesn't stack against that. Yeah.
Should we start a whiskey DAO?
What pitch me the DAO.
We get 20 people that each put in 1 Ethereum.
Yeah, I dig it. I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so pissed. I found the perfect DAO name for us that isn't Whiskey DAO, but like would allow us to do so much more debauchery. And it's
Debauchery
already
DAO?
registered. I had my eye set on Fuckery DAO.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Expires in 10 years.
Oh man, they're like
That's a good
fuckery's
deal.
only gonna like gain popularity. Yeah, there's certain ones that I'm like, oh yeah, there's no way it's registered. And it's like not only is it registered, but it's like registered for like eternity. You're like, okay, they really believe in it. Fine.
Yeah.
Now, if that wasn't a joke, yeah, Whiskey DAO, 1 ETH a piece.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that would be great.
I can sell something for 1 ETH. Yeah. Do we have 20 people?
Make it 10, 2 ETH, yeah?
Honestly, it's a much bigger concept than just whiskey. I mean, that's just like word DAO, ENS, like ENS DAO, like sub DAO that way is super powerful. I mean, what else is Coinbase if not that, right? In a way.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how all that works, and it's something that I would be interested in learning how to do because it's relevant to some ideas that I have. But yeah, we could talk about it offline too. But
Whiskey DAO, that sounds
yeah.
like a good place to start. I mean, dang, let's go.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that more. Stephen Miller, anything else you want to say?
And I hope you'll join us for the after show over on minting coins, because it's going to be a great time. And yeah, that's where friendships are really built.
Are we doing an after show? Do I got to get that recorded? We're going to figure that out. 184, what do you think?
Thanks. See you in the after show.
Evan 15, you have more light shining upon you.
Yeah, I tried fixing it. It's not great.
Oh no,
but...
it's much better. It's like you have more contrast. It's more striking now.
Yeah, good to hear. I'll definitely try to keep this for future setups. Steven's over here laughing. Steven always clowns me. Originally, he clowned my original logo for ENS interviews. I was just a young gun and just trying to make a logo. I didn't have money. He just comes in. He's like, dude, your logo is just awful. Like, let me just make one for you. I'm like, all right. You know, I'll take it because you're going to make me one. So good times. But yeah, yeah, I'm happy to be here. I always enjoy these. Thanks for letting me be on. And yeah, I'm happy for the after show. We definitely got to get that recorded. These are
all right, very cool.
Yeah.
And you got to get a hold of management.eth and put in a request for a ring light.
Yes.
Request.management.eth. Anna.eth.
It's always amazing to be here. I'm looking forward to the after show. These are like a whiskey fire chats. I really appreciate them. With the good whiskey and really good friends. So yeah, let's get that DAO started. I love that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Cool. I guess that leaves me. Well, I love these talks. Good talks. A lot of shit to talk about. Too much to talk about. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly. A part of all of it is kind of inspiring, or it's kind of scary, but it's kind of based on the interpretation of the reader. Different people are all listening to the same message at the same time, but different people are interpreting that information based on their background, their experience, their hardwiring, their soft wiring, their hopes and their fears. Some people take what they hear and they take action. Some people take what they hear and they take parallelization. But you got to be doing it. You got to be doing more. I'm out here. I'm doing it. I'm Gary Palmer Jr.eth. You're you. And if you're doing it, we're all minting coins. Peace.